Good afternoon, everyone. This is Roshan, and thank you all for dialing in today for our webinar, which is on marketing automation best practices for insurance agencies. Thank you all for dialing in. This is a wonderful opportunity as we are struggling and fighting with some of these unknown situations that we are learning and adopting. And I think there is the silver lining in this is since we are at home, what we can do best, which is sharpen our tools, learn new tricks, be prepared for tomorrow, because tomorrow will be a bright and shiny day. Well, it is out here in Dallas, but you get it what I'm about to say here. So let's all jump in. I am excited to have you all on this webinar. We have a very exciting turnout here, as well as I'm excited to talk about our panelist with us, the speaker, Jonathan Webster. I have met Jonathan several months ago, actually, as we have been working from a same co-working place, but over the period of time, learning from him all the skills that he brings to the table, I was just dying to have this moment where we can introduce him to this wonderful audience and talk about all the marketing automation tools and tricks that he has to offer. So I'm very glad and fortunate to have Jonathan with us here. So why don't we go ahead and let Jonathan introduce and talk a few lines about his experience and expertise. Welcome, Jonathan, and here you go.
Thank you very much, Roshan. I appreciate the opportunity, and it's a pleasure to be a part of the panel today and present to you all. A little bit about me: I'm an alumni from the University of Texas at Dallas, from the School of Behavioral and Brain Sciences. I started out actually as a substance use disorder counselor. And I realized during that time that I had a real knack for marketing. I had always been kind of technology minded, and enjoyed building web pages and things like that. And I enjoyed helping people and businesses in that way. So I transitioned into the business world, and I currently serve as co-founder and CMO at Media Quad Marketing. I'm also an account manager at MindTap Marketing, and I work in fractional capacities with several early to growth stage startups.
Perfect. Thank you, Jonathan. And obviously, we are very excited. And let me introduce myself here. I am CEO and co-founder of InsuredMine, as InsuredMine is an agency platform helping agents with sales and marketing automation and analytics. As we say, we are an add-on to an agency management system, but it's also about how do we help you tell your data story. And to tell that data story, there is a lot of elements that we have to put together, and that's what InsuredMine is all about. Well, there's a lot more to come in the session, but I don't want to delay that as we want to be really excited and talk about marketing automation. So that's a little bit about InsuredMine, and feel free to jump in and ask any questions or put it in your chat messages, as we will take those questions. But most likely, right, for the moment, we will start with the session and go into the marketing. Let Jonathan talk about how you guys can start marketing automation. So the agenda for today is talk something very basic. What is marketing automation? What are the things that constitute or is a part of marketing automation? How is marketing automation different from just marketing? And then it has to be looked from the prism of an insurance agency. Why does it matter for an insurance agency to have a marketing automation kind of practice? What are those low-hanging fruits? How can I get started today? What am I missing? What am I not doing that I should be doing yesterday? And then, most importantly, is I want you all to go home with a plan. And that plan should not be a 5-year plan. It should not be even a year plan. It should be your next 30, 60, and 90-day plan. What can I accomplish in next 30 days and next 60 days and 90 days? Because if you have done those things, I'm sure everything that Jonathan will be speaking on, it will all fall in place if you have accomplished those first 3 steps. So without further ado, let's get you going, Jonathan, on this. Let me go ahead and get you started here and share remote control. Jonathan, go ahead, Jonathan.
Okay. All right. So in any business, we have to tell people what we do, who we do it for, and why they should trust us. It's the core of marketing and sales. We can have the most innovative products and services and offerings and put it out at a great price. But of course, if no one knows about it, we'll fail to gain traction and our agency will not grow. So we need a way to identify the best prospects for our products and services and offer the opportunity for people to purchase our offerings. And when my clients and I begin talking about marketing automation, a lot of them have this set it and leave it mentality. But contrary to many of those preconceived notions, this system of automation needs to be able to evolve, grow, and reach new target audiences. And that's the way to stay ahead of the inevitable competition that's going to pop up in the market. Excuse me. So I know a lot of people frown upon automation, but I think that might be because they've had bad experiences, either using it or being on the receiving end of automation tools where the tool was too complex, the path forward too unclear, or they were the recipient of a poorly targeted campaign. So if you aren't tweaking campaigns, consistently updating lists, segmenting people into buyer persona categories, and you're not testing your messaging, it's a lot like a car on a hill in neutral. It's going to automatically go somewhere, but the destination may not be where you intended. If you're not moving forward, you are definitely moving backwards. Good automation has heart. That is to say, the pathos and branding that your organization wants the prospect to experience is actually felt. And when it's done well, no one's going to be the wiser, and it doesn't feel like automation. So when you have a system to automatically attract the right clients who want your products and services, this may sound cliche, but everything changes. This is the one adjustment that you can make adding the automation to your business that can take you from sporadic deals to having a pipeline that's consistently full of leads. So you can focus on improving your sales processes, close rates, and ultimately growing your business. So what exactly is marketing automation? Well, I'm going to give a simple overview on marketing automation, and we'll take a glimpse into some details and complex aspects, but I want everyone to be able to get something out of this. Marketing automation, of course, was once thought to be this futuristic thing or a luxury afforded only to Fortune 1000 companies. But the technologies that facilitate automation are widely available now for any size organization, from solo to enterprise-sized agencies. So Marketo here has a good, clear definition for us. They say marketing automation is the technology that allows companies to streamline, automate, and measure marketing tasks and workflows so they can increase operational efficiency and grow revenue faster. But before we dig into this further, let's start briefly with something absolutely fundamental. And I want to put a lot of emphasis on this because if you don't get this right, marketing automation will not work. So let's move forward. So obviously I'm talking about market research, specifically consumer insights research. And that's things like focus groups, surveys, social media listening, interviews, experiments, observation, competitive analysis, and that sort of thing. And luckily there's plenty of data in the public domain that you can just use Google for. There are a few different types of terms for this: defining your target audience, creating buyer personas, or developing a customer avatar. Essentially, it's the who, what, when, where, why, and how set of information that we know about our potential clients. So in order to provide effective messaging, we have to do a little bit of work. So speaking of that public domain data, I simply Googled insurance agency buyer persona and came up with literally millions of results, but I did it inside of images and came up with a good example from a company called uxpressia.com, and they help put together buyer personas. So you can see this basically has demographic information about your buyer. I'm sure this isn't new information, but I just want to be super clear about the importance of understanding their background, their motivation, their pain points, and this is the way that you'll be able to craft a message that really speaks to your target audience. So that's why if you don't get this right, then the marketing automation just flat out won't work. And it's also the reason why people, leave with that bad taste in their mouth if they get an email that says, hello, first name. You don't want it to be robotic, and you want it to touch the person who's receiving the messaging from you. So let's move forward. You're going to want to create buyer personas for every type of customer that you have. What's the perfect life insurance customer look like for you? What makes that homeowner, boat owner, farm owner, or other insurance type of customer the perfect type of customer for you? Generally, that means going through your contacts database and noting trends about how certain leads or customers find and consume your content. Other times you can accomplish this in person, over the phone, or with surveys. If you want a buyer persona template, you can feel free to email me at jonathan@mediaquad.com, and I'm happy to share my templates with you. I don't always use UXpressia, but I have a good way to go about this. Okay, so now that we have the basics down with our buyer personas, what kind of marketing automation can we do? Well, lead generation, segmentation, lead nurturing and scoring, relationship marketing, cross-selling, upselling, retention and lifetime value, and marketing ROI measurement can all happen through marketing automation. And I'm imagining if you're spending any amount of time on these things, that automating these types of tasks sounds attractive. So how can we do this? We can do these things through lead magnets, paid ads, email marketing, landing pages, utilizing your CRM and other integrations. Social media marketing, you can utilize social media calendars to schedule out your posts to match up with campaigns and send them to your lead magnets, to your landing pages, and to your forms and surveys and things like that. You can also utilize chatbots and marketing analytics. It can be auto-populated as well. So one of the age-old business complaints is that there's a disconnect between marketing and sales. But when leveraged well, this can be resolved through marketing automation. So when does a prospect or a customer visit your webpage? Take a survey, fill out forms, download content, engage with your emails. What should be happening there is you should have a CRM, and these CRMs, we'll see in a minute, we list out some, that they should be automatically doing some of these things for you when people engage with your content. And you can set up triggers, not just from CRMs, but from some other tools that we'll see in a minute, where you can automatically have these sequences that just happen once one of these actions is taken. So when would these potential clients' lead scores change? Well, you can also set that up in most CRMs these days to change as they move through the sales pipeline. So the prospect, doesn't exist yet in the CRM until they engage with your content. But when they do engage, instead of traditional lead scoring, I like to go ahead and add them to the sales pipeline as a lead and give them a low percentage of probability to completing a deal. And in that way, I rank them anywhere between sometimes 0.5% if they've, engaged with something that's, just a light entry level piece of content, anywhere from 0.5% all the way to 5%, so that I can utilize automation triggers based on their actions. And that actually has a name. It's called revenue cycle modeling. So
Jonathan,
sure.
If I may interject for a second on the previous slide. So I think it's a very important point you brought up in terms of sales and marketing. And I just want to add to that and ask you to explain it to the audience here. As we all understand in insurance space, it's very heavy focus on sales because, that is something they believe that is instantaneous or it reflects, when you do something, you see something happening. Whereas marketing is a long-term objective oriented. And so how do they see that, once they are trying to be because sales can be when you say you are trying to push somebody may buy it or not buy it, you are done and you move on. Whereas marketing may take 5 or 7 touches before it becomes a good prospect. So I think it's an important distinction to build that mindset of nurturing rather than trying to just have that instant outcome.
Right. Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think we'll dive in a little bit deeper here into how this looks in practice. But I definitely understand the communication piece that has to come together between marketing and sales. And that's why the thing that I implement that really changes that conversation is ranking those leads at low percentages so sales can start to see them inch closer to their plate. You take somebody that comes in from maybe a lead magnet or something like that, and you can really watch their journey as these automated emails are sent out. For example, this one has a nurture workflow here, where they essentially enroll themselves into this workflow, and a sequence is automated to nurture them into your pipeline, where a sales representative will be able to reach out and seal the deal. Gone are the days of just handing out your business cards and waiting on someone to call you back or trying to close them at their place of business or at the dining room table. It's very much intent-based, relationship-based actions that are happening here between the prospect and the insurance agency. So they're bringing themselves into this top level of your sales funnel, and they're just sifting down with the more and more sequences of emails that they get, the more opportunities they have to engage with your content on your website. And as they flow down that funnel, you're learning more and more about them so that you can see their journey through the different pieces of content. And you'll know by the time that they get to sales, that representative will know exactly what they've been interested in their journey. So now more than ever before, you don't have to do a heck of a lot of discovery on that first conversation with them because you know quite a bit about them. And we're going to take a deeper look at that here. So there are plenty of marketing automation platforms out there. And if you are just getting started, or maybe even if you're looking to investigate a new, more complete platform for insurance specifically, I would recommend taking advantage of InsuredMine's free trial. What Roshan and his team have put together is nothing short of amazing, as you'll see later on. Let's take a look at some of the ways we get people into this pipeline and start to nurture them. And we call these lead magnets. There are lots of different kinds of lead magnets. This is 42 types of lead magnets. It comes from my archives for when I need ideas on where to take clients. But this is how we get people into the marketing and sales funnels. And during these, we're going to be talking about email automation sequences mostly. So these go hand in hand with email automation sequences, the way that you're going to stay in contact with people. So let's take a look at one of the most popular. We're going to get visual with this. The most popular lead magnet out there, especially during this unprecedented time that we're living in, I'm seeing my rates of webinar registrations just shoot through the roof because people are at home and they're investing in themselves and they're open to learning new things and they have the time. And that may be the what's happening for you, right now. So let me walk us through here. What we're looking at is essentially, you may have heard of ClickFunnels or website funnels, but this directly corresponds to the sales funnel, where what we do is when we set up web pages and we set up these sequences for automation, we're keeping in mind the customer journey and sending them exactly the right thing at exactly the right time, so that they have the highest probability of becoming paying customers. So this webinar registration page where someone would land tells you, the top mysteries that will be unraveled, or essentially the things that you're going to learn when the webinar is, and essentially this page sells the webinar. And then, we have an opt-in page and a thank you page. And this thank you page really provides an opportunity for you to direct people into your sales sequence as well. But notice that we don't just, we shouldn't just say, okay, here's your confirmation email, we hope you show up. One of the most effective ways I've found to get people to actually attend your meetings, webinars included, videos, things like that you're putting on, online events in general, is to send them a little video. You send them an email, link to a video within that email that shows them a little piece of what they're going to get out of that online presentation that you're going to put forward. And this works for new prospects as well as people that you're trying to get to re-sign. And then I do that twice. And then I send them I send them 2 emails right before the webinar. This second one here is a remarket email. So what I mean by that is the first one that's automated says, something different than these 2. It's generally like a recap of what we're going to be talking about. We're looking forward to having you. And the second one is for the people who did not open or click the first one. So all of these sequences, not only are they talking about the core thing that we've guided people into, but they're also providing opportunities for us to send people on down the funnel to the rest of the opportunities that we want them to engage with. All the other lead magnets that we have, or a specific sequence of actions that we want them to take to get to that final goal, which is the sale. And then this third one is just a reminder and a link to come to the event. And then, we also have a different sequence for post-webinar, how to get them into a webinar replay if maybe they missed it or if they want to see it again. And then, as always, at the bottom of the email, somewhere on this web page, we're going to have an opportunity for them to move forward onto a more valuable action item. So let's take a look at a little more realistic version here.
So if I may add to that, Jonathan, just bringing it to the context of insurance here. So sure. All of you guys, with several of these agencies that I have spoken over the period of time, most of them have a niche. Whether they are selling trucking insurance, or whether they are doing childcare, whether they're doing a specific kind of a commercial insurance, or they specialize in home or auto. So once you know what your specialization is, webinar becomes a wonderful tool for you that, hey, I'm doing a webinar talking about if you are trying to insure a product or a service, how do you do that? And that becomes your funnel. So keep that in mind when you're thinking through this, what Jonathan is talking about, what to do, but then what that subject can be one of your expertise that you would be leveraging with the webinar. So that's all I just wanted to add.
No, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I intentionally kept it general as I realize specializations vary among agencies. So I really appreciate that perspective. This that you're seeing now is a real example of recycling your old webinars or setting up these video sessions to run on AutoPilot. So this one is from a guy named Pete Vargas. He does stage to scale launch. He's a marketing guy. And this funnel has two goals, essentially. It generates leads and it generates sales. And he has two offers ranging from like $400 to 2,000 offers, $2,000 rather. Now, you can see that he's running Facebook ads to get people to his opt-in page. And then he has based on what people select on his opt-in page, he has three different possibilities of where to send people. So I use a tool called Intercom, which is a chat bot to automate chat application messaging on websites. And you can set up sequences on specific landing pages for Intercom to prompt the webinar viewer to engage. So that's what I would do is, and I know you've seen chat bots on websites, your website may have one. But I put it at the bottom of the webinar and I set up a specific sequence to get the person to become engaged. One of the other things that you can do with that is you can also put in all of your documentation you have about plans and any of the frequently asked questions that come up. You can actually preload that data into the Intercom app, and you can, as people ask questions, it will find through natural language processing, it will find the most relevant results for them, and it can guide them into the next stages of your funnel in that way too. So I'm in a fortunate position though, as I work with an organization called Tech Genies. They're a global technology development organization, but they also provide call center service reps, sales development reps that are my employees, but they're housed with a country manager in different offices around the world for like 40 to 60% less than we pay for employees in the US. So I've opted out of fully automated chatbot sequences because the data showed that I should invest in human resources to seal the deal. So that's the way I run these kind of webinars on AutoPilot, and these video sequences on AutoPilot is I have teams that will respond in live to these chatbots as people engage. So let's move forward here. Another popular one for insurance agencies is surveys. So this allows you to deliver a lead magnet that not only provides something useful for your prospect, but it'll also give you more information about them. And you can set up automated email sequences based on their answers to the survey. In this example, we have the survey page that they land on. And depending on the result that they get from the survey, it's going to direct them down your funnel to the appropriate next landing page. And then what you're not seeing here, you are seeing the email that would happen as a result of them getting to that page, whether they buy or not. I have different sequences of emails that are set up based on what happens on this page. Because of course I have tracking on every web page on my website, and I know what people are doing. And we'll see kind of in the next stages here what happens with this. But let's first look at the traditional lead magnet. So the traditional lead magnet is download a PDF, and it's gated. Of course, gated is the way to go. You want that information from them so that you can get them into your email list. So notice in this one that I don't take them right to the download page. This gives us a couple of advantages. First, we get to teach the prospect that opening emails from us is a good thing. And second, on the download page, you have an opportunity to send the prospect through the funnel to surveys, webinars, phone calls, or entry-level product purchases, that sort of thing. So in the email sequence section, we're utilizing an indoctrination email sequence, which is asking, well, it's taking them closer and closer to the first stage of engaging with sales. And that's the goal here, is you want these sequences to always be moving them to something they're interested in, and ultimately to a conversation or to an action page that seals the deal for your sales team. So finally, let's look at the product sales digital funnel. So hopefully, your marketing automation funnels and email sequences have worked, and your prospect has landed on your sales page. And you'll notice in the previous views that most of those funnels also had opportunities to move on to a sales page. And I am a big fan of upsells, downsells, cross sells, and anything I can do not only to keep the prospect from abandoning their cart, but to invest more money with us. So you can see that I have all sorts of strategies here to keep them inside the cart and then take them on to the next thing. And then ultimately an order confirmation. And then they'll get a sequence of onboarding emails at the end. So you might be wondering or thinking, well, that's all fine, but it only works if you can get people into your email list or call list. And you are absolutely right. So I have a couple of quick tips for you on how to get new prospects into your marketing and sales sequences. So Zoom Info is a paid service. It's a luxury kind of item, but ultimately this has a database of millions of business contacts. You can also build on a B2C level. You can build your buyer personas utilizing this platform, and it's changing the face of how new contacts are brought into a database at this point. And I can't say enough about it. Don't get paid by them, but I am a fan. So another way, of course, is by paid media, running Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, all sorts of different ads across the internet. Organic search through SEO. This is kind of the long game plan. The long-term investment to, be on the receiving side of intent-based searches. So you don't always have to pay for people to get to your website with ads. You can also play the long game and hire someone that can really optimize your site to bring the right people to your website and get them into those funnels and those sequences. Referrals, obviously, partners, cold calls, but my secret weapon, I took a snapshot of it here, is the Facebook ads library. And this is an open resource for anyone and everyone to use. And it's put out by Facebook. And what you can do is you can search by industry or business that has a specific keyword in their name. And in this case, I searched for insurance and found American Family Insurance and saw exactly what ads are currently running on Facebook right now. And, if they've been investing in the same ad over and over for a long time, either they're really bad at managing their ad budget, or more likely the ads you see that have been running the longest are the ones that are working. So generally the call to action from these ads, when you get them, you go check them out, are the same lead magnets we were talking about earlier. They're webinars, they're PDFs, they're those types of things. And this is really good for idea generation. So I can't recommend this free tool enough. And with that, I think that provides a pretty good overview, but I'm definitely here for anytime you want to reach out and talk about marketing automation. And with that, I'll say thank you and hand it back over to Roshan.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks a lot on that. Let me Birth control, yeah. So before I transition, first of all, thank you, Jonathan, for this wonderful insight. There is so many good tips, but this last one specifically, I learned this one from you last time when we were talking, and this is amazing. So there are two reasons of this last Facebook ad library is not only to learn what others are doing, but also you keep a tap on your competition. I'm sure there is a next door house which may be doing a better social media marketing, and you may not have to invest a lot of dollars to figure out how they are getting it. Just this is a way to figure it out. So this was a good cheat sheet. I think people will start leveraging. So thank you for sharing that. So a couple quick things. Taking it more from the general marketing automation to specific automation sequence. So here is a list of that we just wanted to start with and talk to you about. When we said, what are the things that you should be doing in day 30 days, 60 day, 90, these are some of the basic automation that you should be starting. So when we are talking about sequencing your automation, so all contacts, whether it's your birthdays, holidays, and anniversaries, does not matter whether that individual in your contact list is prospect or a lead or lost client or an active client. Everybody should be receiving at least these three automation which should be set up in your system. They should be receiving a birthday, holidays, and holidays can be several of those, right? Whether it's a Thanksgiving, whether it's a we are talking about Christmas or any of those, it all should be there. There are several of those. And the reason of writing as A here is set up by admin, which means it is not divided by producers or CSRs or office location. It should go across from an agency. Now, next we are talking about active. So when you have an active client, here are some of those basic ones that again should go from your admin setup, which is welcome client. And again, welcome client is not just one email. It can be a series and a sequence of email on day 0, day 15, day 30, day 45, which is talking about, hey, welcome to my agency. Second email is about welcoming and talking about the policy they have. Third email can be about the coverage or when there is a claim situation, who they should be contacting. By adding all these multiple sequences, what you're doing is you are bringing that person, that individual closer and closer to your agency. Next one is about app download. So obviously we are a big proponent of that every agency should have their mobile app. And that is another one that you should be doing that. And again, that is also sequence of email. None of these I'm talking about is one single email. It's a sequence of 3 to 5 emails. Follow-up task. When you are underwriting or sending it to the underwriter to write a policy, especially in the commercial insurance, usually it takes 5 to 10 to 20 days sometimes. And what happens during that time? Your client is sitting, he thinks he has sent those applications to a black hole, does not know what's going to come back out of that. What's your responsibility? Set up those automations, which is in that stage of a sales, everything after 3 days to 5 days or 7 days, they will get a follow-up saying, hey, what's going on? Or when they just signed up and you are about to reach out to them, but you cannot connect with them, then you set up those automation. Hey, I'm trying to connect with you, cannot connect with you. Those automations, it is just triggering those communications. Policy review, that's another big one. You just set it when you sell the policy. The automation is set at that point of when they will be buying, when the policy review will happen and trigger those at a trigger point of 5 days to 7 days, at least 2 to 3 of those. Cross-sell, that's one big opportunity with, which I believe is called, to me, it's a low-hanging fruit. A lot of you do not dig into your current book of business to see how can you increase those who has home and auto but no life, who has home and auto but no umbrella, who has commercial insurances but do not have all the comprehensive composite needs of those. So what can you do to add that one more policy? Because let me tell you this, selling that extra policy to them Yes, it brings extra revenue, but by selling that extra policy to them, it increases your retention by at least 10 to 15 basis points. And that is huge. That is huge because every additional policy you sell them, they are going to be staying with you way, way, way longer. So think that from that retention perspective, not just from a revenue perspective, why you need to invest in that cross-sell automation. Last but not the least is the Google review. Every time you sell a policy, this should be automated that within 15 days, they get a Google review request. Because at that point of time, they have to, and they are at the peak of that experience they have with you, and they want to maximize that and give you good reviews. And the more online reputation you are able to develop over the period of time, the stronger your brand value becomes. Because imagine a new customer coming in. Who are they going to go to? Someone with 500 reviews or someone with 3 reviews? So this is how you create your competitive advantage. Now, talking about the drips. So drips are also a sequence of email, but it is not automated, but you can just plug them in at a point of time, which is not yet driven by business logic. Whether it's about following up with your prospects until you are able to connect, or following up, or when you're waiting on. So these are primarily on the sales stages that you just click on yes or no. And I'll show you in a bit what does that look like. So taking a step back from there, let's talk about how InsuredMine can help. And I'll try to limit that to another 5 or 7 minutes as I want to open this up for questions on marketing automation. So InsuredMine in a nutshell, as I said, is an add-on to an agency management system, helps us with 4 core things, what we call as SEAM, SEAM, which is sales, engagement, analytics, and mobility. So sales is all about the CRM, as Jonathan was talking about how important today it is to have a CRM with sales and pipeline automation. So your sales funnel is automated with your CRM, which means now you have a way better visibility of what you are selling, how you are selling, who you are selling to, and how your sales resources are doing. That gives you a way better and powerful perspective. Second is, in that, another piece I want to add is the sales automation is all about the external sales that we are talking. But then looking at opportunity automation is all about the internal sales from your current book of business, whether it's through renewals, X-days, cross-sell, or win-backs. And then marketing automation is all about setting up those campaigns or dripping those communications to the client that allows you to set up a lot more automated communication so the customers feel that they are being attended to, and while you continue to do that at a larger scale. So I want to take a minute and talk about one quick thing and show you how these automations are set up in InsuredMine platform. So let's go here, and I will do it, waiting for Jonathan. Stop share. So in automation here, we're going to show you 8 such automation, which is happy birthdays, which I said, do it for everyone. Referral requests, do it for everyone. Let's do client pulse, which is Google review. I'm sure a lot of you want to do it, either are not doing it or paying a lot of money to other just services just for Google reviews. So let's take a moment and dig through that. And it will take you less than 60 seconds to get this done. You can do it through your email or through your text messages. Send it to all your active clients or all clients. I'm going to do it for active right now. And we're going to set it after 15 days. Let's put a subject line is how did we do? You can pull your email address and then a phone number. Click next. pull an email templates that we provide. And you can have your logo and all those things edited here and provide, and here is that email that will go out. And compose your email if you want to add a second message to it, or for your text message. We can add another, let's just type in here, please, survey. Click next, boom. It's all set where you have your workflow name, you have defined how you're gonna send it out through email and text messages. You got a subject line, you got your reply set, the list is set, your templates are set, and you are ready to connect. And it will be tracking all those communication. It is as simple as that in setting up an automation and InsuredMine platform. Today, as I said, there is one more bonus for all of you to be a part of this, which is if you sign up today, we will be sharing with you 100+ marketing automation templates within 24 categories. And what does that category look like? And several of those categories we showed you on our drip and our automation screen. So go ahead and sign up. And I understand this is a moment when we are looking to do way more with less. Resources are becoming scarce. Resources are becoming expensive. And so what we can do to automate a lot of our process? The answer is InsuredMine, especially when you are in the insurance space. With that, I will take a quick pause here in terms of all our webinar content, but open this up for your questions.